and I've just remembered to press the record button. And we'll be able to follow up any questions that you have. So yeah, please put in questions into the chat. And the second half of this webinar, we will try to answer any specific questions. We're going to finish in 45 minutes exactly, because then after this webinar, we have a premiere, a YouTube premiere of a documentary that we made, which you can watch on YouTube. I will put the link into chat. And that will be starting at 8 o'clock. And you will notice that 3 of our panelists are, I won't say stars, but they have roles in the documentary as well. Okay, so my first question to our panelists is, why did you decide to do a CELTA course? What were the reasons? And maybe I'll ask our face-to-face participants this question first. So Rahaf, Yunus, and Nergis, why did you decide to do a CELTA course?
Ladies first.
Nergis, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for the question. You know, because this course was really valuable for me. So I decided to do the CELTA course at ITI because I've heard so many positive things about this place, and you know, the reputation of the trainers and also the quality of the training, they were what initially drew me in. So you know, and then I went there, I came there and I experienced how supportive and kind people were, and it was clear to me that this was a community that I wanted to be a part of. And honestly, of course, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to visit Istanbul for the first time because I haven't been abroad before. So for me, ITI was the obvious choice, and I'm so glad I made that decision. Like, yeah.
Okay. Rahaf?
For me, I've been before CELTA, I have been in Turkey I resided in Turkey for 2 years. I graduated from international relations and strategic studies, but I couldn't find a job here, and I didn't want to work in that field anyway. So I was trying to find something to do, and I really enjoy teaching because I teach my siblings, my cousins, and it's a dynamic job, so I enjoyed it. So I tried applying for jobs in Istanbul for a year, nothing, because I didn't have a license. I didn't have a university degree, like a teaching university degree, and it's too personal, but I don't mind sharing. My therapist actually suggested CELTA. She actually told me like it's a good license. She told me about it. She said it's good. They will train you how to be a teacher. Blah blah blah. She did it before, and so I applied, and yeah, I'm glad I did. It opened a lot of doors for me, and I'm currently working as a teacher.
Your therapist recommended it. That's interesting.
Yeah.
We should
yeah.
a commission to her. Then.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, and Yunus, why did you decide to do a CELTA?
Well, I've always been interested in knowing what makes a good teacher or a great teacher. And it was clear to me that just having the knowledge is not enough. So there must be something else that I can learn in order to become this good teacher. And I first heard about CELTA back in 2017. I didn't know about ITI until last year, actually, and the whole thing was just random because I did not plan for it, and it just randomly happened, and I applied, got accepted, and then I started planning my trip to Istanbul. And yeah, it was back in 2017 when I heard about the CELTA course through an acquaintance of mine. She did the course in Cambridge, and she said that it was very intense. She also did the full-time face-to-face course, and I was intrigued. So this idea of doing CELTA kind of got stuck to my mind, and I've been planning to do that ever since. It's just I was still a student back then, so the finance side was a bit I didn't have enough how to finance the trip. So it was until last year when I decided that I wanted to be part of this, and I just quit my job and I came to Istanbul. And it's a decision that if I had to do it again, I'd do it all over.
Okay, great, thank you. So Yulia and Rula, you decided to do the online CELTA course. So maybe you could tell us why you chose to do the course online as opposed to face-to-face.
Right, I can start if you do not mind. So actually, it's been my dream to do a CELTA course for several years, and I work as a freelance teacher. I have a university degree, but I have always wanted to improve my overall performance. But still, I realized that at the moment I had 2 kids. I knew that the work they're really small, and I realized that the workload was going to be very huge. And then I learned that there is an opportunity to do the course online. Then I learned that I could do it part-time. And I thought that maybe it's I have to grab this chance. And actually I did it. And I really jumped for joy when you accepted me, because I finally realized that my dream is really very close. And I never regretted it.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, for this question. In my case, the first time I heard about CELTA, it was around like 7 or 8 years ago when I applied to. Well, I have I have like an experience in teaching, but the first time was hearing about CELTA. It was like when I applied to an institute, and that institute asked me for CELTA to get a CELTA. So I did like a lot of research and a lot of reading, and I discovered that it requires a lot of time and a lot of effort. And that time I was doing my major in English literature at Istanbul University. So it wasn't like okay to combine between university and CELTA. So that my aim was the time that I finish university, so I can apply to the CELTA. And I'm doing right now. Why the CELTA online? Because mainly I live between 3 countries, in Saudi Arabia and Turkey and Syria. So doing online would be give me the benefits to do this CELTA online and to teach even online if I have opportunities.
Okay, thank you. So my next question is kind of getting your experiences of the main highlights and the main challenges. So what are your real experiences of the CELTA? And maybe we could start with the online CELTA this time. What were the main highlights for you? And what were some of the challenges, some of the problems, issues, difficulties that you faced doing the online CELTA?
Well, teaching practice was the most amazing part for me. And frankly, I was scared to death before my first lesson, because I was going to teach elementary students, Turkish speakers. And I'm used to communicating with Russian speakers, so I'm used to their accent. And I was really terrified that I wouldn't understand the accent, that something will go wrong. That was really my nightmare. But surprisingly for me, everything went smoothly, and students were so approachable, so friendly. And the feedback that tutors gave us, it was really very, very gentle, very polite, and to the point all the time. So They just highlighted the areas which we needed to improve. So it wasn't intimidating. That was really very encouraging.
Rula?
Well, I think that basically, again, I can't add anything else like teaching practices. Yeah, were really interesting, like frightening, but interesting, very, very full of joy. Yeah, I think that was, and yeah, the live classes that we had with Liz, they were full of information, very like educational and informative. So you learn like every step, every article, everything you do in CELTA, you just have this learning process, the gradual learning process.
I've never heard a CELTA course being described as full of joy. Or teaching practice.
Oh.
That's the
It's
first.
a kind of combination actually, and this is like weird combination because you are it's full of stress, it's full of anxiety, but at the same time you to some
Yeah.
extent enjoy this. You enjoy the
Definitely.
learning process, knowing the knowledge itself. It's like so enjoyable and so fun, full of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. What about the face-to-face course? What were some of your highlights and what were some of your challenges?
Can I start?
Well,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, Yunus, go. No, go.
Okay. Well,
Go.
as novice teachers, and I guess Ralph can agree with me, the main highlight was to actually teach.
Yeah.
And it was not as bad as we thought it would be, especially my
Definitely.
first teaching practice. I mean, it was not that bad, but yeah. So that was the first highlight, to get to work with the students and to get just to have all the stage for you, and that was my main highlight, to be honest. And there were other highlights, of course, such as meeting all these wonderful people during the course, and the tutors, of course, who were very helpful, and also the drama class it was amazing, actually, thanks to Mehdi, and
Definitely.
it introduced us to a new way of teaching, and that teaching does not have to be all the time. It does not have to be dull, but it can be fun, interactive, and yeah, I guess these were my main highlights.
Definitely, I agree. For me, Yunus mentioned the first TP. For me, the first TP, before the first TP, I was just trying not to run away. I was just convincing myself, don't run out, don't run out. And after the TP, I was feeling so good. I really didn't even care about the feedback. I was just like, I did it. I actually
Yeah.
taught. I remember everyone feeling so disappointed. They were like, oh, I could have done better. And I told Maggie, no, I'm good. I'm so happy. Because at first I felt anxious, but during the TP, for me to teach for the first time and actually just feel so steady, so in my element, and be able to have fun with the students, just be natural. And yeah, it just felt really good. I felt like I really found myself. I found something I'm really good at. And for me, CELTA, not gonna lie, it's the highlight of my year. The whole CELTA, the whole process. For me, I never expected it to be this good at all. I've been warned about CELTA, about the intensity, about the sleep deprivation, and it was all true. But I never expect. No one told me it was gonna be this fun. No one told me I'm gonna meet such amazing people, and I think I got really lucky with my group and my tutors. But yeah, it was amazing. And for me, the main highlight about the course itself is the way it was designed. It's really, for me, it was really perfect. Like the way it's designed. I came to CELTA not knowing anything about teaching, and I really just 1 month I felt like I know a lot. I could teach, I could make lesson plans, and the lesson plans are amazing. The way they taught us how to plan our lessons, how to execute them, and then the feedback, and also the way the intensity, like it gradually, it's like teaching you how to ride a bike. At first people are holding you, they're telling you exactly what to do, you're feeling supported, and then suddenly little by little, you just feel like, okay, now I have to be independent. But it's amazing. I felt stressed, but it was a like just the appropriate amount of stress. It wasn't really so overwhelming. It was a really good challenge. I really felt alive again. I wasn't doing anything before that. I felt alive. I felt like I'm being challenged. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, first I want to talk about my main highlights of the course. For me, of course, the main highlights were the people and the interactions. The trainers were incredibly knowledgeable, and they were supportive. And other than that, what really stood out to me was the sense of community that we had with each other. So we all came from different backgrounds, we had different teaching experiences, but we were all united in some ways because all of us, we wanted to be better teachers. And the way we helped each other in every step of the way, and it started from lesson planning to stressful situations, we really supported each other. Especially the three of us, thank God. And I feel so lucky to have been a part of this group, and because these people are really supportive, and so it's an experience that I always cherish. And it was the experience that has made me, I think, a better teacher in the last year. But if I want to talk about the challenges, I have to go for lesson planning and dealing with stress. About the lesson planning, I found it difficult to follow my steps in my lesson plans at times. And it was challenging, was really challenging to stay positive in that, in that environment, because the majority of people were stressed. And when I was there, I was too happy, like I was too excited. And, for a couple of days, I was so happy and too excited. But when I see other people, I'm like, Naga, something's wrong with you. You shouldn't be this happy. You shouldn't be this relaxed. You have to do something. I mean, I was too excited. However, with the help of the trainers, thanks to Mahdi, Elena, and the others, they really helped me, especially my friends, especially my mom. They really supported me in this situation to overcome these difficulties. Actually, I love these kind of challenges because they really help me to become a more resilient and adaptable teacher.
Okay, I'd like to ask the tutors now, Liz and Mehdi, from their perspective, what they see as the when they're doing a CELTA, whether it's online or face-to-face, what they consider are the highlights of the course, if you like, and some of the issues that people are likely to face. Mehdi, perhaps you could tell us about the face-to-face course from your perspective.
Yeah, I guess well, the guys mentioned most of the things that that happened during a CELTA course. But to me, I think the best thing is the change I see in people from the first day and then the first TP and the last TP. The difference is always quite rewarding and refreshing. That is usually my highlight when I see how they've changed. But during the course, everything they said is all true. I mean, the challenges, the sleep deprivation, as Rahav says, points about lesson planning. These things they usually like. These things they benefit from those most of the things mostly. But yeah, I guess that change is the best thing I can say.
Liz, what about the online CELTA?
I think it's the same in different ways. I mean, there's a lot of when you're teaching online, obviously with Zoom and things, there's lots of things, technology things. And as a tutor, when you're observing in the first lessons, we're on hand to sort things out for them when they go wrong. But by the end of the course, we're just enjoying the lessons, sitting back, seeing what everyone's learned. And I think the community is the big part for it. So those are definitely the highlights, just the way people change. And we have this reflection at the end of the course about what everybody has learned. And it really comes across. People surprise me on our final reflection day. They come up with things that I hadn't thought about they'd learned, and they've discovered stuff. They've shared stuff with each other as well. They've learned so much from each other in terms of different teaching approaches and tools, but also about the community of teaching, I think, is the big highlight for us.
Yeah, I mean, community, but quite a few people have said, you know, that the community participants. I mean, is that possible to achieve that in the same way on an online course as it is in a face-to-face course, or do you feel?
I think so.
I mean, Julia and Darula, you can't really compare, but you can tell us whether it was possible to build a community online.
It is possible, actually. And in our small group, we had a girl from Japan, a boy from Morocco. So we had an international team, and that was amazing. You know, to feel this international spirit and to be able to talk to people from different countries and to have Turkish students. So you see, it's like a melting pot, a big melting pot. And of course, it was amazing to have this opportunity and to enjoy it. And we still keep in touch, by the way.
Yes, precisely. And I mean, like the amount of support that you get from tutors and from our peers, that's unprecedented, really. It's beyond expectations, and especially patience. I mean, like I learned from Liz and Zahra that there is no stupid question. You can ask whatever, and you can ask what you want. So that was so, yeah. Yeah, that was so comforting and so just helpful to know that you're most welcome anytime, any question, anything. You're just the way that they teach us, the way that they help us, the way that they took us from side to side. That sense gives security. That gives you the sense of security. You feel like you're not alone anymore. You have someone behind you, helps you. Yeah, this was my experience online. I mean, like online CELTA. I never felt alone. I never felt like I'm alone. Never.
Okay. What about the benefits of CELTA? I mean, you completed the course, and reflecting on your course, what do you feel are the benefits? Actually, let's start with the tutors first. I mean, in terms of the participants, what do you think of what do they get from a CELTA? I mean, what are some of the benefits? Just briefly, Mehdi and Liz, and then we'll see if the participants, the panelists, agree with you.
I'm sorry, I'm dealing with a few things in chat. I wasn't listening. What's the question again? Sorry.
What do you think are the benefits of a CELTA? What are the main benefits that participants achieve from completing a CELTA course?
Okay. In terms of teaching, they get a sense of having a plan when they teach, having an idea that there's a progression, having an idea on and what they shouldn't focus on. The planning takes an awful lot of time. I'm sure that, you know, I remember planning through the night when I did my courses years ago, and I know everybody does it, and it takes a huge amount of time, but it's having that sense of purpose when they're teaching. And the students feel it. The students recognize that the teachers have thought about what they're going to do, and the students can understand where the teachers are taking them. And I think that's really important. I think also what they get is more of a sense of being a little bit more independent, knowing how to find resources, knowing what it is that they should be researching. and having these questions in their mind that they're thinking, how can I take this further? What can I develop? So that as we go through the course, we start to see them trying out new things, taking risks, and becoming much more confident and competent in putting everything that they're learning into practice. I think that's a huge part of it. But we also see changes in them as people. You get some people who are very emotional. There's always tears somewhere. If it's not a trainee, it's a tutor. Somebody cries, someone. There's tears, but then there's the joy that everyone's talked about. They learn to recognize that the feedback that they're getting is not about them as a person, it's about them in their lesson. And they learn to recognize that and build on it. And I think that a lot of people tell us that they've become much more confident as people by the end of the course.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, I completely agree. I think to me that another way of seeing the same thing is that what I think is the best thing people take away from CELTA is the start of forming healthy, useful habits as a teacher. They learn, like Liz said, how to think about the resources, having clear aims, and perhaps the most important thing to me is the way they start thinking about their own lessons. That reflective aspect of CELTA, I think that's the top takeaway of the course.
Okay, great, thank you. What about Rahaf, Yunus, and Nergis? What would you say is the key benefits?
For me personally, Yunus.
No, sorry, you go first now.
Okay, this time I'm gonna go first. Okay, thank you. For me personally, I think the main takeaway, it was a slow burn. I didn't realize it until months after CELTA, is that the way the lesson plans, the way they teach us lesson planning, and the way we execute them actually sticks in your subconscious. And this is something our tutor Elena told us, that when she did her CELTA and she was flying back to her country, she was thinking, I forgot everything. I did all of this for nothing. I forgot everything. And she said the first time she went into a lesson, it all came back to her. It was just organized. And after months after doing my CELTA, I realized this, that I used to take a lot of time planning and put a lot of effort and stress. And then like 5 months later, I realized that I could go into a lesson not having any plan in my head if I'm in a hurry or whatever, and suddenly see everything getting like organized in my head, and I know exactly what to do because I've practiced enough to know if it's a reading lesson, I know the steps exactly. And not just that, because I have the steps ready in my head, I have the space to build on it, to be creative, to add my own stuff. So it's really amazing. And at the end of the day, you know your objectives, you know what you're supposed to get at the end of the lesson, and you see it every time. So I think that's the main takeaway. As well as like Mehdi said, the healthy habits. For me, this was the most important. Healthy habits, especially when it comes to perfectionism. I used to be I am a perfectionist, but CELTA really taught me how to just discipline, how to practice, how to give yourself some grace, that you can come from nothing and you can actually learn and get better and better and better with practice. So yeah, I think that's my main takeaway.
Yeah, can I go now? Okay, so I have to agree with most of what Liz and Mehdi said. So for me, you get progressively more confident throughout the course, and you can see the difference, for example, between GP1 and GP7 or GP8. And one of the amazing things that CELTA taught me is that it teaches you to be more independent, but at the same time, you value teamwork, because Rahaf, Nagas, and I used to work together all the time. So we do our individual work first, and then we talk to each other, we ask for feedback, what can be improved. And yeah, you get a lot of ideas, and you want to be creative with your lesson plans. And Unfortunately, you can't do everything because you only have 45 minutes, but you learn how to take all that and kind of squeeze it into your lesson plan. And so for me, the ability to become or to be more self-reflective, because this is a thing that we used to do after each GP, self-reflection, where you reflect on your teaching practice and kind of think back what you did, what you didn't do, what can be improved. And so this is how you get better from GP to GP. And yeah, for me, that's the benefit, to be more self-reflective, to have more confidence. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. We've got a few questions, and there's one from Inaz, I think, that is quite an interesting question. Basically, if CELTA is such an amazing course, joyful, etc., why would applicants have stress and sleepless nights during the course? And she says that she wants to learn in a happy, joyful environment. And if there's all this stress, how can you possibly learn? And that is a very good question. Thank you, Inaz. Who would like to explain how they experienced the stress? Because there is definitely stress on a CELTA, and managed this so that they found it a happy and joyful course.
Well, I can start.
Okay, good.
Well, I would say like no pain, no gain, but no, actually no.
Yeah, true.
Maybe it was a bit easier for me because I did part-time CELTA, so maybe it was not that intensive, but still I just tried to do my best. I spent lots of hours preparing lesson plans. I even rehearsed my lessons because I wanted to improve my overall performance. I wanted to do my best. That's why I tried really hard, and that's why it was really yes, it was stressful. Yes, I really felt anxious before my lessons, but it is worth it because this is how you improve yourself. You improve your teaching skills. So it's just a must. You have to do it to become better.
Rula, do you want to add something? I mean, I think the stress level is different on a part-time
I think I have wanted to add something.
Thank you, Rula. Yeah, what I can say about this is that my experience as a full-time CELTA participant is that the ratio of joy and benefit to stress is really like enough to make me want to do it again and again and again. When we talk about stress, is because it's true, we do feel stressed because it's a new thing. Like we all just go into this thing not knowing what to expect. Of course, there's newness because we're out of our comfort zones. Most of it is in our head. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Most of it for me was the first week. It was in my head because it was a new experience. I was out of my comfort zone. I was like, what am I doing? Blah, blah, blah. But the more you understand, the more you talk to your tutors, the more you talk to your colleagues, you understand that you have the support that you need. You don't need to stress that much. And also the joy that comes with the new experience, the joy that comes with the benefits, the joy of growth. There's always stress with growth, but when you see yourself growing so rapidly in such a short period, you're just like, yeah, I would do it again. I would definitely do it again. So please don't get discouraged by us talking about stress. It's just because it's intensive. It's 1 month, so we have to do everything in that month. It's like there's no time. But for me personally, I used to wake up at 7 a.m., go back home at like 10 p.m. and I feel no pain. This is how, because I'm just excited all the time. I'm excited. So it's worth it, trust me. And you would see, I didn't prepare myself at all for anything. You go there first week, you understand what's going on, then it will be easier for you. Just you don't overthink it though. Really just go for it. That's all.
Yes, I think in my case, because I already said, like, I had an experience in teaching, and teaching with CELTA techniques and methods, that itself is stressful because Now you have to deliver a lesson completely than the way that I used to do. For example, I used to just go into the class, and the class usually used to be the teacher-centered. The teacher used to lecture and just to provide all the information that she or he knows, plus some words or sentences, and voila, the lesson is finished. And usually, I mean, that was one of my mistakes, that I used to ask the question that, do you understand, to students? And that turned to be is a taboo question for me. I mean, no teacher asks their students, do you understand? That CELTA taught you that there are lots of methodologies and lots of techniques. So the stress comes from that you need to, the amount of reading, the amount of research, the amount of information that you have to grasp, to take, and to present them, to deliver them to the students, and make sure that the students understand the lesson. The students, that they get the main aims, they get the aims, they get the benefits of the lesson. This, I mean, for me, that was the stressful journey, or the stressful, these lessons, because just the amount of preparation, the amount of hours that you spend just doing the research and reading and writing the lesson plan and everything, just to give this perfect lesson to the students. So I think that was my experience. I mean, like the shift between me before this CELTA and after this CELTA is just unprecedented, unbelievable. I mean, like Rula B before this CELTA is completely different from Rula B after this CELTA. As a teacher, I'm talking.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just come in, Tom? Because we've got a question, somebody's just asked about, will experienced teachers also benefited from the CELTA and from the part-time CELTA? A lot of the people who were doing part-time CELTA are already teaching. They do it on the part-time course because they're working full-time, and a lot of them are teaching. And I think what we find from them is that they come in to me and they say, I just tried this out in my class and my students were amazed and it made such a big difference. So they're making the changes as they're going through the process. So they're able to try things out in the part-time as they're going along, and they're seeing it work with their own classes and seeing the changes. I think that's the enjoyment. The stress is just, it's not emotional stress. I think it's time management stress. A lot of things. We did have someone on one course who worked part-time, did all the work and read War and Peace at the same time, and she managed. But that's unusual.
And the stress is not like paralyzing, rather than it just encourages you. It gives you this the willing and this desires to work more and to present like a good,
It's motivating. It's really not paralyzing.
Very much, yes.
And Inaz, I just need to add, I really have anxiety. I have really bad anxiety, and CELTA didn't stimulate that in a bad way. I thought it would, and I was really scared before going in because they warned us in the form. But I was like, okay, I'll just go do it. And just the first week, you adapt. The rest of the 3 weeks, you really have fun. Just don't trust yourself. It's not as bad. And even at the end of it, I was like, why did they warn us? It's like it wasn't that
once you start, you just cannot stop. You just like need to know more.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, if I can add something, I think people tend to underestimate themselves sometimes. And people are more capable of things than they think. So this is one of the benefits, if I can revert back to Tom's question, that I think people can learn from the CELTA course, is that you can push yourself to do better each time. And if something is not challenging enough, I think it's not worth it, really. Nothing of value comes easy, I think. So if it's not challenging, then it's not worth it. Just don't do it. If it pushes you hard, and
I wanted to say something that I think for the participants or the ones who want to participate later, I think if they want to do this, it would be, if you don't want to feel the stress, in my experience, if you don't want to feel it that much, it is better to first research before attending. research and understand the requirements and the expectations of the course beforehand. And because then you'll get that it's an intense and demanding course. So it's important to be fully committed and be prepared for the whole workload. I think searching and also asking others, it would really help you.
Okay. Are there any people in the webinar who would like to ask a question? I mean, if you want to unmute your microphone, turn on your video, and if you have a question about CELTA, doing the course, anything that you'd like to know. There was one question about what's the application process? Who do you accept and who do you reject? Maybe Mehdi, if you're listening.
Yes,
might,
I am.
might quickly like to answer.
Yeah, sure. But before that, if I may, I'd like to add something else to what everyone was saying. I mean, it's all true. Everything that was mentioned about stress and about being able to manage time and everything. But with all of those things considered, people should, especially with the intensive course, they should take the course when they are emotionally ready. They shouldn't take the course when they have a lot going on in their lives. There was another question about being a busy mom and not having enough time. So they're not sure. I think Elena, she's not sure whether she can take the course or not. So you have to know, well, I completely agree with Nargis on this. You'll need to do more research before you apply for the course. You need to know how much time you have to have before you take the course. And about the procedure, I guess, well, everything we shared the link to the ITI website. If anyone is interested, they can read more information. They can find more information there. There's some things that you need to do, some tasks that you have to complete, some language tasks that you need to complete, some writing that you have to do. And one of them has to be done at the same time when you are applying. And then there's an interview, and the interview will decide whether you are ready for the course or not. You can choose online or face-to-face. Then, am I missing anything? I guess not. So that's it.
Yeah. But I mean, basically, you need to have a competent language level. That's telling me it's coming to the end of our time. Okay, so maybe before we wrap up, if everybody could have one piece of advice that they would give somebody who's considering doing a CELTA, what would it be? And you'd have to do it, keep it fairly brief. Liz, do you want to start?
Well, because I'm mostly on the online part-time course, I would say treat it as if you were going to a face-to-face course and you had regular hours set aside to go to a face-to-face course. Otherwise, you'll just say, I'll leave it till Sunday, and then you'll have the panic. So give yourself regular hours to do the work.
Okay, Rula?
I think make the CELTA a #1 priority and spend a good time and enjoy it. Really enjoy it, because it's a worthy experience.
Okay.
It teaches you a lot.
Julia?
So what I would recommend, just take into account that you will work really hard, but as I told Liz, who was one of my tutors, it's a game changer. CELTA is a real game changer, and just take the most out of it and enjoy the process.
Okay. Mehdi, from a tutor's perspective?
Nothing I can add at this point. Just, yeah, do the research, know what you're getting into, and join the course with confidence.
Okay. Nergis?
I just wanted to mention a very important thing here, that I would encourage these people to embrace the learning process and to be open to feedback also and constructive criticism, because being receptive to feedback, it can really lead you to, it can lead to significant significant improvements in your skills.
Okay. Yunus.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go Nike style and say, just do it. CELTA is a transformative journey, and that has the potential to change your life. So yeah, just go for it.
Rahav?
I have nothing else to add. Like Nargis said, embrace the learning process, trust yourself, and just try to enjoy it. Don't take it's serious, just don't take everything so seriously. Try to enjoy it, relax. It's a nice process, really it is.
Okay. There's a
And
question.
good luck.
Yeah, there's somebody who's asked how to get in touch with people who have done the CELTA, which is actually quite a good question. We'll think of ways that, I mean, there are testimonials and things on our, but I mean, obviously having a direct contact with someone who's done the course is very useful if you're thinking about how to, whether it's the course for you or not. If you're not sure whether it's the course for you, I recommend you watch our documentary, which is called The CELTA Experience, and it shows 3 participants, Rahav, Yunus, and Nergis, and their experience doing their CELTA course. So it kind of shows it through the participants' eyes. So it actually shows them going through the 4 weeks. So I suggest you log into YouTube now, and there's the link in the chat. And at 8 o'clock, there will be the worldwide premiere of this documentary, which is the first, as far as I know, it's unique in showing a CELTA course from a participant's perspective. So it will give you an insight. Okay, it's one particular, but it will give you an insight into what the CELTA involves and the emotions and experiences that the participants go through. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the documentary, because I'm sure you'll log in now. And if you haven't done a CELTA course, then hopefully this has given you some insight into what it's like to do a CELTA course. Thanks, panelists. And I hope
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you, Tom.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Care.
Thank you, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.